In the whipping, I'm whipping the soul out it. Chin the tone when I'm festing like Pilates. Why you frontin', you act like you somebody. Keep a trail in the ville, how I go by it. I was stuck in the rut, I was nobody. I've been looking for something to go by it. There's an art to the hustle like yo got it. Kick out a kick back and hit like a new shotty. In the whipping, I'm whipping the soul out it. Chin the tone when I'm...
Yo, what is going on, Titan Clan? It is your boy, King Titan X here, back with another video, and this video we're going to be doing the next part to What If Eren Was an Ackerman. As you guys may have watched from the last video, 6 months, it basically ended off with Eren basically joining Levi's squad, and they ended up going through some practice. They had a bit of sparring just to get a feel of each other, Levi and Eren. Next thing you know, it turns out that Eren actually is the more dominant one here. He has more of the paths awakened. He is able to actually remember all of the skills from the previous Ackermans, unlike Levi, who they're not even too sure is awakened, to be honest. Like, they are aware that he has incredible physical strength and speed, but they're not sure about who he wants to protect or anything, or at least that's what they assume is involved with the awakenings. But we basically ended off with the start of the female Titan arc. Now, I'll be honest, I'm just going to swift by this real quickly, and I'm going to say this: most of what happened would start to seem similar. Things wouldn't change that much until the very end, and where this ended up happening. What ended up happening in this version is that, well, the female Titan would have appeared while they were traveling to Shiganshina, I believe. And, well, simply put, she would have actually started to create mass genocide on the teams that were traveling over to the walls, trying to recover some land for their people, trying to fight off the Titans as well. Eren would have realized this, and he was thinking about transforming, but Levi would have told him not to. He told him not to take the risk, especially with the fact that, well, he technically doesn't even really need to transform, since his physical capabilities, they're like that of a Titan already. So, and try and stay in this small form because of the fact that, well, his on Titan form, his attack Titan form is still very experimental. They don't know how well of a grasp he has on the form, no matter how many tests that they've taken so far. It's only been like a couple of days at best, really, that he's really even had his attack Titan form. It's not like it's been a month or anything. And the first time he reacted when it came onto this Titan form, it wasn't that pretty. Eren would begrudgingly agree, but once he ended up seeing even more of his teammates getting killed, he would figure that enough is enough, and he would actually run off. Levi would have told him to come back, but Eren decided to refuse orders. He would have refused orders and actually went on the attack. Sure, he didn't go into his attack Titan form just yet, but that's because he didn't necessarily need to. He had the skills of previous Ackermans all combined into his head. He had what you could call muscle memory from all of those past Ackermans. So, fighting off this female Titan, the one that looks like they had what you could call like a muscular system completely exposed to something like the inner anatomy of a woman. besides certain parts. You guys know what I'm talking about. Eren would have had a much easier time fighting what we know as Annie, but what they are all aware of for right now as the female Titan. He would have had a much easier time because of their previous stated facts. And he would have actually managed to get a good couple of hits in. The only thing is that she is a more experienced Titan user. The more experienced Titan shifter, I should say. She is able to heal relatively quickly and knows just how to target her healing to where it would be still effective in order to fight against him. At the same time though, this is an Ackerman empowered Eren. We've already seen what Levi was capable of against some of the other Titan shifters. So just imagine how it would be for Eren with even more pure willpower, the amount of bloodlust Eren would have, and eventually you would realize that Eren is also a quick learner. So he's able to actually kind of start to outpace Annie. Eventually, he decides to go into his Attack Titan form, which would put Annie at the end of the ring, so you could say. And that's not a good expression. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that Eren would have Annie at her ropes here. It would basically be like playing tug of war right now, but Annie is on the losing side. She's close to the mud right now. She's struggling, but it's just not working. And she tries to call out for help here. And by using this, she would actually make a scream out of sorts, realizing that she can't actually defeat Eren here. She knows that she's more experienced. She's had her Titan form for longer. But he's an Ackerman. She can't really compete with somebody at his skill level. She thought that she was going to be the more skilled one here, but apparently she was wrong. Even when he was in his regular form, his human form, he was still as strong as ever, and just even more of an annoyance. He was harder to swat, to hit. He was getting in all of these. He was getting in so many attacks all at once. It was like for every 20 attacks that he was able to dish out, she was only able to give out like one. And even then, half the time, they weren't even all that effective and deterring him from the fight. It wasn't even a good distraction. Yeah, not even a good distraction really. Sometimes it would be enough to stun him for a little bit, but that was the best that she could give, because he just kept going. Next thing you know, by the time they finish, it's already over for Annie, because she decides that enough is enough, and she would create a roar of the sorts. Next thing you know, a bunch of Titans would appear around her and start to try and consume at their Titan body. Eren would have made sure to fight through some of them. Levi would have decided, you know what, you're still valuable to us, and he would actually fight as well. He would come back, fight through these Titans, just slice through a bunch of these Titans all at once, and end up rescuing Eren from the fight. Now, of course, Eren would be annoyed, and he would actually go right back in there and actually grab Annie before she can be completely consumed by the rest of the Titans and actually try and make her escape. He would have barged through quite a bit of them using that armor he had. Yeah, the armor that Sixmeister mentioned. We're going to just say that he drank the liquid from earlier. He was able to get his hands on the liquid some way, somehow, to have that sort of armor. And basically, things would have ended up becoming majorly different here because of the fact that when Eren was actually able to cut through some of these titans, he would actually find one of the female teammates on the squad. And just for convenience sake, they didn't necessarily know what would happen if a male ate Annie. Not in that way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, they weren't too sure and they didn't want to risk ending up losing a resource off of just trying to figure out the unknown. It wasn't necessarily worth it, so they would decide to save it for later. What ended up happening for right now though is that the main importance would be later on. The main importance later on would be, of course, at Wall Rose. And well, the whole thing with the Beast Titan, unlike some of the soldiers would have ended up encountering the Beast Titan. The Beast Titan they would have thought to just be an abnormal, at least at first, until they started to show even more unusual signs and realize, oh no. Throughout the night, they would have ended up having to suffer at the hands of the Beast Titan and all of the Titans that they were calling alongside them. Several Titans were just appearing out of nowhere, and they would have just basically been fighting for their lives throughout the whole night. It would have gotten so bad that Ymir would have actually revealed that she is a Titan Shifter herself. Although a rather small Titan Shifter compared to the ones that they've seen before. They were usually like 15 to 17 meters. This one was slightly taller, probably at like a height of like, I don't know, like 19 meters. But this one was only like 5 meters at best. But they were swift and powerful at the same time. They made up for their size in that speed department. So they were basically doing quite a bit of damage. They were able to defend for quite a while, but even then it was still one Titan against several, and it was a whole crowd of Titans, so how could you expect that you'll be able to really compete with them to such a degree of, well, lackingness, you could say. She was basically lacking when it came on to the number and power. She wasn't strong enough to really even be able to handle maintenance control to such a degree, or like damage control, you could say. But what ended up happening in the long run though is that the rest of the team would actually show. More scouts would actually appear and end up helping fight off against the rest of the Titans. Now, of course, they would have also seen Amir as a threat at first and tried to eliminate her, but the rest of the crewmates that were there, they would have ended up stating that no, they are on our side. And it would reveal later on that Amir was actually the Jaw Titan. This would interest Eren, Levi, and the rest of the scouts, considering the fact that they had two Titan Shifters on their squad this whole time. Well, technically 4. Once we end up getting the shocking reveal that not only did they have 2, but they had 2 more in hiding. They had 1 reveal themselves to save the squad, and they had 2 of them reveal themselves. One wasn't necessarily trying to reveal themselves though. The one that ended up revealing that they were Titan Shifters was Reiner. Reiner, you could say, was a snitch. He snitched on himself and Bertholdt. what ended up happening because of this was that he would reveal that he and Bertholdt were the ones who have caused so much damage. They were the Armored Titan and the Colossal Titan. They would have revealed this to Eren though. That was one of their biggest mistakes because of the fact that they didn't take into account that he was an Ackerman and his skill levels were on a different level. He was not taking this very he was not taking this very kindly at all. He was not taking what they were saying with so much stride at all. As a matter of fact, he would have been angry. At first he thought they were joking and you would have told them not to joke about that sort of stuff. He would have ended up having one of his blades actually touch Reiner's shoulders, saying, "Hey man, that's really personal sort of stuff that I don't feel comfortable with you joking around about. So I advise that you guys don't do that." But Reiner would actually unwrap his bandages and show his broken arm. He would then show it starts emitting a bunch of steam, and Eren would recognize this sort of steam. And soon enough, Reiner's wounds were healed. Eren would have immediately tried to go on the assault against Reiner and Bertholdt. Thanks to him being close, he would have actually brought in quite a bit of damage here. He would have brought in more damage than Mikasa at first, but that didn't change the fact that they were able to still transform into their Titan states. Eren, knowing that he would have to be fighting against the two of them, he wouldn't hesitate in this part to actually turn into his Titan form. He wouldn't hesitate at all to become his attack Titan, and he would have gone on the assault against these guys. He wouldn't hesitate at all when it came on to fighting Reiner. As a matter of fact, because of the Ackerman paths, he was able to get in even more blows than before. In this canon, what would end up happening is that he would begin to crack Reiner's armor, something that even he was surprised about. What ends up happening is that Eren would recognize more so the joints. He would recognize that there are parts of Reiner's body that are still flesh-like. They're not covered in armor like most of his body, and he would target those weak points. This would be what you could say was Reiner's Achilles heel. He would have been targeting against his Achilles heel all this time, and this would start to take a toll on Reiner. The Colossus, I keep on saying Colossal Titan would have tried to actually emit a bunch of steam, but well, this would only work for so long because Eren would actually grab Reiner and throw him at the Colossal Titan. The Colossal Titan would be forced to actually stop emitting his steam since he didn't want to injure his teammate. Not purposely anyways. He didn't want to injure his teammate, so he would have to stop emitting the steam just for a little bit. And because of the fact that he was basically burning his own muscle mass in order to emit this steam. So he was looking quite a bit thinner now. Eren would have charged right back at Reiner, and this time the Colossal Titan as well, Bertholdt. He would have actually had the rest of his teammates help here as well. They were able to cause quite a bit of damage. Eren focused more so on Reiner though. he was basically bashing his head into the ground multiple times over and over. He was stomping down on the ground. He was stomping down on Reiner's chest as well. He was basically causing it to collapse on itself. No matter how much he was able to heal, Eren was just continuously injuring him, so no matter how much he healed, he was still getting injured at twice the rate. So it wouldn't really be effective at this point. And Eren would have just been trying to break through Reiner's, what do you call it again? Through Reiner's nape's armor. The armor around the nape of the armored titan. That's basically what he was trying to get to, and so that he would be able to bite into the nape and actually rip out Reiner. Of course, he still wouldn't be able to. Not here. Not even with the armor that he had himself. But when it came on to Bertholdt, it would still be a similar effect here. The only difference here would end up being that they would be unable to actually kidnap Eren. They would be unable to kidnap Eren and Amir here. That would be the only downfall here. That would be their only issues here. Of course, Eren would still try and go on the pursuit against Reiner and Bertholdt, but it would be ineffective in the long run. They would have been able to get too much distance already. But they would have had to just lick their wounds for right now. I need to stop saying when it came on to Reiner and Bertholdt, they would have had to lick their wounds for right now and have to try again another day, because Reiner would realize soon enough that what he did was pretty stupid and reckless. This was something that Bertholdt would actually call him out on, and he would mention that they didn't even get Eren here either. He should have actually taken into account that Eren is incredibly skilled. He is what you could call somebody who is a young prodigy. He is a young prodigy amongst most of the scouts. He's rivaled only by Mikasa really in skill, because when it came on to Levi, yeah, sure, he's skilled, but he's had like a great amount of experience. And when it came on to him as well, he still ended up kind of coming close to being beaten by Eren at the same time as well, which, when you take into account that factor, it would really start to dawn on Reiner that what he was trying to do before was really idiotic. And when it came on to the Attack Titan, there was something special about them as well. The whole reason they were even trying to get Eren in the first place was because they had a feeling he had the Founded Titan though. They weren't too sure about this, but even if it turned out that he didn't have the Founded Titan and that somebody else had it, if they still were able to kidnap him and bring him back to Miley, at least their mission wouldn't be a total failure, because they would have been able to bring back the Attack Titan, one of the missing titans that they've had to suffer with throughout the years. Sure, they had a great amount of titans, but they wanted both the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan. At least if they brought the Attack Titan, they wouldn't face too much of a punishment. I think his friends, well, more specifically Mikasa, he was exhausted, he was tired, he was pretty drained from the fight, but he wasn't about to just let her die here. wasn't about to let any more people die on his watch, especially people that he's known since forever. And so he would stand up against this blonde-haired Titan, which he seemed to have a vague sort of memory about. Some sort of flashback would come across him. Some sort of memories, not his own. He recognized this Titan. This was a Titan that ate his mother back then. But there's a bit more to this story though. He has flashbacks to somebody else's memories. He doesn't know whose it is though, but he remembers seeing a woman, a blonde-haired woman, just a regular looking woman, just being tied up and having some sort of injection jabbed into her spine, into the nape of her neck, and the next thing you know, she is thrown off of a wall. She's thrown off of a ledge or something along those lines, and she ends up transforming into a pure Titan and would just start marching around. He doesn't know whose memories this is, but he doesn't really care right now. All he knows is that this is the same Titan who killed his mother, and he wants revenge right now. And he's not going to allow this Titan to kill one of his friends as well. He's not going to allow this Titan to eat one of his friends, Mikasa. Not at all. He even admits to, well, internally he admits to maybe having some feelings for her as well. But he would leap up and actually punch the Titan with such force and with this pure will behind it. The reason for his punching, what he wanted to do to this Titan, his desires at that very moment, it would cause the Titan to be sent flying so high into the sky, and several Titans would be coming across this female Titan as well. This pure Titan. So many other Titans would just look over. It's as if they were being mind controlled or something, and they would just start rushing over to the Titan, and to the blonde Titan that Eren punched. These colossus monsters would just start to consume on the blonde-haired being that was once human, and Eren would just watch, confused and wondering where this spark of energy came from. It's something he never experienced before, not even in his attack Titan form. This was something else entirely, something on a different level. Reiner and Bertholdt would have witnessed this from far away as well, and realized that yeah, it just had to be him. It just had to be Eren, didn't it? The guy that is so skilled, the guy who has so much skill in his abilities, the guy that is literally able to have a Titan strength while in his human form, the guy who's able to outmatch even Levi Ackerman in a fight. It just had to be him, didn't it? The one to have the founding Titan. And that's how I'm going to leave it off here, people. It is King Titan X signing out. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. You guys know the deal. Also, Six Meister's channel will be in the description below. I'll leave a link in the description below, basically. Yeah, and join the Discord. Peace.